Good evening, ladies, and welcome to this free masterclass this evening. And I thought it would do it of an evening because I thought, actually, I guess when you guys are going to be sitting down and watching it is probably when you've got back from work and sort of left the corporate 9 to 5 behind. And so this is a bit of a precursor, if you like, to a fantastic day that I'm going to be running at the beginning of March in London, and I'll come back to that at the very end to tell you a little bit about it. But tonight is a masterclass to start thinking about making that internal mindset shift to step off the corporate treadmill and to sort of burst your 9 to 5 corporate bubble. So I kind of hope that helps to set the context. And what I wanted to do this evening, guys, is just to use some notes, because I've got so much that I want to share with you this evening. So if you see me sort of glancing away from the screen, it really is just to take a look at the sort of valuable information that I wanted to share with you. So I wonder if you are wrapped up in the indecision as to whether to ditch, the corporate 9 to 5 life. I'll come on to me in a little bit, but it's certainly something I experienced in terms of waking up in the middle of the night and thinking, I can't do this anymore. If I leave, what's around the corner? Is this it for the rest of my life? What could I do differently? And I asked myself the question, am I meeting my soul desires on the corporate 9 to 5 treadmill? And the conclusion I came to very quickly is that, I want to burst that corporate 9 to 5 bubble and trade that for a more soul-aligned business and being self-employed and doing something that I really wanted to do. So I certainly had those feelings, and I'm sure you do, of living that corporate lifestyle, in a very controlled, a very all-consuming environment, where I imagine you feel that you're on autopilot day by day, hour by hour, probably in a place of scarcity, and thinking, is this working life for me? Sometimes it feels okay, sometimes it doesn't, but there's always that niggle, that inner rebel in you wants to escape for good. And I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I've actually got a Facebook page called Reb-elle Coaching, so go and take a look, for tips, blogs, videos to help you with that shift from corporate 9 to 5 to sort of really capturing your entrepreneurial dreams and being a solopreneur in the future. So imagine it can feel quite suffocating, that feeling like you're trapped, you're stuck, and that you feel unable to sort of step out into the world of opportunity, flexibility and abundance. That's certainly how it felt for me. So I'm very much a soul sister with you there, in that it's exactly how I felt too. So if you're feeling all of those things, then you're absolutely in the right place with this masterclass that you're tuning into now. You're in the exact same place and you have those feelings that you want to escape. Before I tell you a little bit about me and we get on with the masterclass this evening, there's a great quote that struck a chord with me, and it was, sometimes you need to step back and remind yourself of who you are and what you want to achieve, because we get caught in that sort of 9 to 5 bubble, that routine, that structure that we really want to step out of us, and we really forget who we are and what we want to achieve. So very quickly, a little bit about me, and that started to come out already, is that I was in corporate life for 22, it's probably 23 years in a life of HR. I never did operational HR, but I was in recruitment, I was in training, I was in learning and development. That was a real passion of mine. So speaking to you this evening, and more latterly in sort of graduate development and graduate recruitment. But I got to a point probably in my mid-40s where I thought, I can't do this anymore. I want something different. I really felt that inner rebel within me had been kind of stuck, and I wanted to kind of unleash her and unleash it, and that's what I set out to do. I had roles working in Vodafone, in Barclays, in professional services, in Deloitte, in the latter part of my career. And you know what? I was on that corporate treadmill, and I did want to get out. And just before I left, I was retraining. to become a counsellor, which I am in part now, but also a lifestyle and mindset and success coach, really supporting women like yourself that want to ditch that corporate lifestyle and want to do something different. And if you like, being your partner in crime from a coaching perspective to really help you make that transition from 9 to 5 to a newfound freedom. So that's a little bit about me. So if you're thinking about leaving corporate world, you know, 2.5 years ago, I was in your shoes and having exactly the same thoughts and exactly the same niggles that you might be having today. So what I wanted to start with as part of this masterclass is to start getting us to think about, you know, the good news story when we ditch that corporate life for our entrepreneurial dreams to be a solopreneur. And it is about daring to dream. If you're not already there, you'll be surprised how much you're visualizing and dreaming of what life could be like after corporate. But the key thing here is about getting into the mindset and the space for stepping into a new reality, to really live life on your terms, so a new you. And we can talk a little bit about how you start to do that now, how you step into the new you of who you want to be. So what this masterclass is going to touch on this evening is about space for self-care and love, all about permission and your choice, daring to do something different, thinking in a place of where but doesn't exist, but and I can do this, I can do something different. Really talking about this next level, you stepping into a new reality and really feeling in alignment and flow with that for the future. So as we go through this masterclass, I'm not going to confess to have a magic pill for how I made that transition, but I will share something at the end that really helped me to step into my new self, that new you. It's going to be personal, this transition, and what works for you ultimately, but hopefully with this sort of masterclass as a precursor to my program will hopefully begin to unlock for you and shift your mindset so you can consider choices, decisions and next steps to sort of ditch the corporate 9 to 5 for something different. And that might be to plan it, that might be to dream it, that might be to visualize it, whatever works for you. But fundamentally it's that internal mindset shift, and really, as I found, owning it while recognizing those feelings and emotions that go with, you know, what is a very kind of tricky, you know, life-changing decision. So I'm hoping I'll be helping you to start thinking about some tools, some approaches, some food for thought to help you on your way. It may not be a quick fix, but you'll be able to start, you know, planning that journey, those steps, a bit of self-discovery, and I think once you've made that decision to leave corporate 9 to 5, I certainly found what came with that was a relief, a freedom, and a real energy and enthusiasm to do something different. What I wanted to say is let's not underestimate that what comes with that self-awareness is due time and consideration, that it might feel uncomfortable, it might feel scary, it might feel a bit uncertain, and it's likely to bring up vulnerability and indecision. Any decision like this would bring those emotions up. But you know what, as daunting as it felt, I did it. I'm testimony to that. I sat with the niggles, with that feeling there must be more to life than this, and took that leap of faith. So my advice is always, my guidance is to just begin with yourself, you know, wherever and whatever feels right for you. There's a great quote out there that I'm sure you've heard many times, which is, let today be the start of something new for you. And no doubt your ego is going to get in the way. Mine certainly did, and will challenge you. That sort of indecision, if you like, to exit stage left or step right, but listen to it, don't let it hold you back. You'll inevitably grow through that sort of uncertainty, that insecurity during the time of reflection. So the kind of age-old question is, hell, where to now if I'm going to step out of corporate life? It's not floating your boat anymore, it's not knocking on your door. What do you really want in life now? And it can be a confusing time, not something you really want to kind of really dissect under the microscope for too long, but really about seeing it in a real exciting way, a path of opportunity. As they say, opportunity knocks, and what could life look like for you in the future? And I'm sure you've heard the quote, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So I'm sure that can be true of your reality now. If you're itching to do something different, that's more heart and soul aligned, something that you're really passionate around, and will unleash that kind of inner rebel in you that's stayed dormant, probably for some time. So I'm always thinking, you know, live in the now. It's a bit of a cliche question when you step out of corporate world, but what does success look like for you now? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? And when you think about your time in corporate world, you know, are you really immersed in that, you know, success, or is it still itching to get out? So it's about creating time for your purpose. You know, what's going to light you up now? There's a great quote from Oprah, actually, and she talks about follow your passion and it will lead to your purpose. And I'm a real firm believer in that. And you are your only limit. You know, it's your choice to step out, to create opportunities, rather than waiting for them to turn up. There's actually a great quote from Steve Jobs. I do like my quotes, so go with me. He said, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. But if you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle for less. So don't let the sort of the doors come down, the shutters come down, and think there's nothing else out there for me. So it is going to be about going on a bit of a journey of self-discovery and really getting in tune with what's going on for you in that sort of internal mindset and what the blockers might be, and being able to connect to your real self again. I'm a firm believer in that. That's certainly helped me. It's not something you can really sort of short circuit, but you can think about the sort of practicalities of what you do now. So what I wanted to do today is to sort of dive straight in and look at it from a number of different perspectives. And this is about what the world could look like in the great world of being self-employed and a solopreneur. And then thinking about how you start to dream and visualize about what could be around the corner. So let's talk about the great news story first of all. If you are now self-employed, you know, living your dream of being a sort of a self-employed businesswoman. So let's step into that reality now so you're able to live life on your terms. So what I wanted to do now is just have a quick canter through of, you know, what are the real positives, you know, if you set up your own business and you work for yourself. You know, fundamentally, you get to create your own future and choices to fit around your lifestyle. So there could be endless opportunities. It doesn't have to be your own business. You might want to retrain like I do. It could be just about changing your work environment. I've talked about being self-employed, but it could be about just changing the environment that you're in, maybe from being in the city to being working locally. But keep an open mind, because you have the choice to work, you know, where you prefer, when you prefer, if it's early morning or if it's late at night, working around the family. It does take a leap of faith, courage and conviction, but it is, as I found, rejuvenating and energizing when it happens. Another thing, and I've mentioned this, is do what you love, because if you do what you love, if you have the passion, what comes with that is motivation and inspiration. And with that, no conforming to rules, regulations and policies, and we all know it being drawn into sort of politics and tight deadlines. You can learn new skills, whether it's PR, marketing, or becoming a social media expert. And undoubtedly you get to be at the helm, so you get to be in the driving seat with, you know, making the decisions that are right for you. The other pro is you get to choose who you work with. You might start to work on your own to begin with, but you could eventually end up creating a team. Great advantage, in the future you can have unlimited earnings. You are the boss and you can change what you want. And your business is a reflection of you, of who you want to be. So when you are on top of the world, it will really show in your business. And having your own business can be really exciting. It can be really liberating, energizing too. So it's good to be creative, innovative, and providing great service to your clients. So thinking about that again, that, you know, in being your own boss, being a solopreneur, or retraining, or working in a different environment. You've got the choices. The only thing that's going to be holding you back is you at the end of the day. The other way I like to look at it, which I think will be really helpful to you, is to start looking at it with some questions, some dreaming, some visualizing. And I want to share with you some ways will help you to do this. And I'm a big fan of journaling too, to see what kind of comes up and what you want to do in the future. So firstly, I always say it with words and pictures, so dream and visualize. And 5 questions that have really helped me is there a hobby or an interest outside of work that you really enjoy and get enthusiastic about? So could this be a lead for a future business that you might want to run? So what I'm saying here is your move out of corporate world could actually be closer to home than you realise. You know, message a friend for their opinions on your strengths. What do they notice that lights you up? It's great about getting a different perspective that might be totally unfamiliar to you, that really highlights your passion and ignites your purpose. What would get you out of bed in the morning feeling positive, more motivated and energetic? So picture those possibilities and notice how it makes you feel. And the great question, if money was no object, what would you see yourself doing in the future? It helps you to think about opening doors, thinking big, thinking positive possibilities and being creative. So keep that momentum going. Think about those questions, get them down on paper, maybe draw them, maybe write them down, and get into the habit of journaling, because I've really found that incredibly useful. When you're thinking about what you want to do, you know, think about living your life with purpose and following your passion. And I found this being stuck in corporate world. This is not about what you think others want you to do. I never get that right first time. So it's not what you think others want you to do or what you think you need to be for others. And that was me through and through. So tap into that true purpose of yours. You know, what is your why? We all have a backstory or backstories that have never been uncovered. So go back and connect with them, because you'll have a connection to more than one that might have got buried over the years. So it's the kind of, you know, I will do this, you know, once. So there's some self-limiting beliefs going around, so tap back into those. Think about, like with the journaling, have a blank canvas, throw the rule books out the window and be curious as to what life after corporate world could look like. And whilst doing that, tune into your values. You know, what's true to you and what would you love a business to be a reflection of your values. And you'll find some helpful cues there for what you want to do in the future. Said before, what motivates, inspires you, what gets you out of bed in the morning. And think about who you are in here in the world to service. Who are you here to help? So if a feeling of setting up a heart-centered business feels right for you to keep that mojo of yours alive, it's a way of channeling that corporate energy in a different way, but knowing you're here to help and you're sort of servicing and supporting those people that you really want to work with. And I found that what's got you to where you are now, that experience and knowledge, it's not redundant and it's not wasted. It's chapters in your life, but how can you make it to good? How can you make good use of it now and channel it in a different way? Is what I'm trying to say. So what's your new news story? So I hope some of those kind of thoughts really help you, and you can think about it in a different way. You know, it's the what do you love doing? What would be your perfect day? What's your heart really asking for? And what are your real values? So dare to dream, let your imagination in. Think about what you're passionate about. What do people come to you for? What do you do even being asked to do? And what would you love to do all day, even without getting paid? But you could get paid for it in the future. So with that, I'm thinking, you know, I wonder what's going to change for you this year, and stepping out of corporate world and doing something, you know, really different, a passion, what lights you up, what do you imagine, what do you dream about, what do you visualize, and really tapping into that internal mindset around what might be the self-limiting beliefs at the moment, what could be the blockers, and certainly the program, which I'm really excited about, that I'm going to be running at the beginning of March, I'll tell you about shortly, will really help you to tap into that as well. So listen to your desires, listen to your passions, and take aligned action. You know, at the end of the day, it is our choice to change and really draw ourselves a little bit closer to the life that we wanted and that we want to lead. So I said earlier, there's no magic pill, you know, to course that 9 to 5 bubble. But what I really realized in sort of tapping into my beliefs, my mindset, the blockers, was that magic pill was actually me. Nobody telling me anything different, which allowed me to do things quite differently. You know, having faith in my decision to leave corporate life, trusting the process in moving away, and really taking the opportunity to step into my future self, not thinking I'm going to be this, but actually starting to be that way, behave in that way, act in that way, that new reality, almost like treat it as a bit of play acting, a new version of you, one that your soul truly desires. And I'm going to talk about a little bit more about that on the program with me, but that was the strategy in a nutshell, and I'll share with you on that program in a little bit more detail how I got there myself. But it was that self-care that I mentioned earlier, and that self-love, to choose a new version of me, one that really lifted the lid on corporate life, and really exposed my own self-imposed restrictions and beliefs. You know, that kind of old adage, well, I'll just stay here and I'll keep going. It's what I know. You know, it's what I know. It's what I think I need. It's what I do well. So I'm sure that sounds really familiar to you. So live in the now, be the beer rather than the doer in the world of 9 to 5, you know, and trade that real draining conditioning space of behaviour and thought for more an energetic and expansive you that's full of opportunities and possibilities after corporate world. So it becomes your normal, your new normal, to just imagine that. And when you're in corporate world, just sort of step back and look at that new reflection and choose where you focus your attention. It is about sort of standing in your power and believing that you can and that you're halfway there. So I hope that's really helped today. I've talked a little bit about the program, the workshop actually, I didn't quite know what to call it, that I'm going to be running in London on the 3rd of March. I did think about, you know, should I run it in London? Should I run it somewhere different? But it had to be central. But I'm really aware and mindful that it will still be in that kind of corporate space. But it is a Sunday, and I chose that so that you would have the time over a weekend to really step out of corporate world and take some time and space to contemplate that break from corporate world and make that internal shift, to step off the corporate treadmill and to burst that corporate 9 to 5 bubble. So that's the title of it. So when you see it being advertised, there's no surprise to you there. So with your fellow soul sisters, it's going to be time to take time out from distractions, to really listen and speak to those reoccurring niggles that I've mentioned that are in your mind asking you, should I stay or should I go? It's really to take time to sort of tap in some outdated stories, to challenge some limiting self-beliefs and shift those mindset blocks that I've been mentioning that are keeping you stuck and holding you back from leaving corporate world. And it's to give you time to step, as I've mentioned, into that new, confident new reality, your new normal self of abundant opportunities, possibilities and dreams of becoming that solopreneur and living life on your terms. Fundamentally finding clarity on next steps to step away from the corporate 9 to 5 with that newfound freedom, that confidence, that motivation and passion. So that's a little bit about the program. It's going to be on that Sunday. It's going to be between 10 and 4. Now that you've joined my mailing list by listening to this masterclass, I'll tell you a little bit more detail about how you can sign up. Because now that you've heard this masterclass, there's going to be other gifts along the way in the run-up to this masterclass. So there are limited spaces. So there is an available early bird price of $295 and then the full price of $395, and that's going to run until the 17th of February. And then as part of that, signing up to the early buy price, then I'm going to give you a bonus of 2 free one-to-one coaching sessions ahead of the program on the 3rd So it's an amazing offer, an amazing deal, which I don't want you to miss out on. But in the meantime, check out the Facebook page I mentioned, my Facebook page called Reb-elle Coaching, because it's really there to support you in that transition from 9 to 5, if you like, escaping the rat race and transitioning from 9 to 5 to freedom. So I wonder if you're ready for 2019. Is 2019 ready for you to kind of make some changes and to step out of corporate world and to live life on your terms and to be that solopreneur and to start dreaming those entrepreneurial dreams and possibilities? So I wanted to leave you there, and I wanted to leave you with a quote as well, and it's from the Female Entrepreneur Association. It says, "This girl, she knows what she wants and she visualizes seeing it happen. And even though she doesn't know every step she needs to take, she isn't afraid to get started. She doses up on inspiration and positivity every day and believes that she will reach her goals. Whenever she has doubts or worries, she surrenders them and trusts that everything will work out in the right way at the right time. This girl is determined to make her dreams come true." So I wanted to leave you with that quote. As I said, now that you've joined your mailing list, I'm going to add some other gifts. It's going to be a meditation and some guidance on journaling, as well a few other bits and pieces. But I hope that's helpful today to join in this free masterclass. I hope to see you real soon. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye for now.